G'day everyone, Nick and Joel here from the Australian Cricket Institute, and you're watching the Ask ACI show, the show where you ask questions and we answer them. And today we've got a question from Thomas O'May, and his question is, how do you prepare for big games?
Yeah, well, we actually did an online training session with our academy about this last year, heading into the finals time. So what we thought for Thomas and for everyone else is that we'll take them through, I guess, 7 steps that we sort of had and 7 topics that we really spoke about in order to get the most out of, performing on that big stage, or performing whenever you've got, something that's coming up that's of I guess a biggest scale, I think. Yep. And I think the big thing straight away for me is stick with what you know and what got you there. I think a lot of players automatically go, oh, I've got to do something special, or I've got to, it's a big game, it's a big occasion. There's always this sort of stigma surrounding it where you've got to go up a level. But
you've got to change something, do something more and train harder and train more.
Yeah, if you're on top of the ladder, or if you've done really well, why do you change? Because you've proved that you've got to that point doing those things. A lot of people go away from that, and I think that's the biggest error that they make.
Obviously, big games, semi-finals, grand finals, they do have that added pressure.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
You're going to be a little bit more excited. Everyone around you is more excited. There's a big build up to the game, but at the end of the day, like you said, there's a reason that you're in that big game and that big situation, and that's because what you've been doing for the past 6, 7, 8, 9 months.
Yeah.
Okay, so try to stick to that as much as you can.
Yeah.
Another really important thing I think to do at the end of the season or before a big game, whether it be, and it's not necessarily a final, but rep games, when you're in a big tournament.
Whenever you're going up a level, really, too.
When you go up a level, when you get picked in a side. Another really important thing to do is revisit your strengths and your plans, and actually sit down and go, right, because you might have developed some plans and looked at your strengths at the start of the season, or a few weeks, a month ago, but it might have developed and progressed and changed. But
I think, just sorry for that part, I think also at that next level or at those bigger events, there's less time that you're actually thinking about these sort of things. The occasion, or the pressure that you're under, or whatever. That's it's harder for you to sort of really sit down and go, bang, well, this is what I do. So going over that and revisiting it, I think
making sure it's fresh in your mind.
It stays in your brain a little bit better.
And what we mean by that is actually sit down and think, okay, when I'm batting, what are my strengths? What am I going to develop my plan around when I'm out there in the middle, or when I'm bowling? What's my best ball? If I'm in a pressure situation, what ball am I going to go to bowl a dot or to get a wicket? And actually have some set plans for different situations of the game. If you're a batter, have set plans against different types of bowlers. If you're a bowler, have set plans for the start of the innings, the middle, the end of the innings, and be really clear on that. When you're out in the middle, you want to focus on what you're doing and executing those skills. You don't want to be thinking, what's my plan here? What do I do? You want to be really clear on that. So that you can just then execute
your skills.
And you're not going to execute all the time. That's the nature of the game.
I think it's understanding that. The pressure of playing in big games or playing at a bigger level is the emotion is heightened just because you make a mistake, but you've made probably the same mistake, or not the same mistake, but you've made a mistake before while batting or while bowling, and you've come back and executed and done well, but all of a sudden now, just because it's that bigger level or that bigger stage, that mistake is magnified because of emotions and everything like that. Another thing that we sort of spoke about was, the training aspect. People tend to really sort of, put more time in and think that they've got to train more or overtrain. I think a really big thing is it's all about how comfortable you are. You need to be comfortable knowing that you've done the work and that you're comfortable at the crease to know that you're happy, because that's when you play your best. That's when you perform your best, when you're at that positive mental state. So a big thing from my perspective is, do what you're doing and do enough of it to make sure that you're prepared, and don't just because you've got a final now doesn't mean you have to train an extra half an hour.
And you know, if as a bowler, if you've bowled say a really big spell on a Tuesday and then a lighter spell on a Thursday for the whole season, and that's served you well, don't then go and bowl 4 or 5 days leading up to that big game,
or with those 2 big sessions or whatever it may be.
Don't bowl for that extra period of time on the Thursday. Stick to what you've done as a batsman. If you've had 3 hits a week or whatever it is, don't feel like you have to go and hit balls every day for 6 days
just
leading up to that big game.
Exactly.
So big one, don't overtrain. Another really important one, I think, and something that happens all the time, and it's inevitable, but try not to play the names. Okay, you're going to be coming up against a team that is of a fairly high level, and they've done well. They're in that same game for a reason. Try not to look at the scorecards or the stats and go, oh, we're coming up against this batsman that scored 300s in a row. How am I going to get him out?
Or even the team. This team flogged us last time, or this team's notoriously, they're always in the finals, or they're always playing at this level. It's try to take yourself away from that.
And you want to look at who you're playing to an extent, so that you can develop some plans, but don't do it in a negative way. And go, oh, this bowler's really fast. They're too fast for me, or I'm not going to be able to get this batsman out.
When you come to that situation, then what's your first port of call and what's your first frame of mind when you have that person? When that person comes into bat, you're like, oh, this bloke's a gun. We're already sort of halfway defeated, sort of thing.
And then that kind of ties into the next one we want to talk about, which is focus your attention on your team's plans and your plans.
I guess that's probably the most controllable thing. There's that old cliche, control the controllables, whatever. You've heard that all before. But I think a lot of people spend so much time analysing the other group and everything like that, which, like you said, yes, there is a time that needs to be done in a certain amount. But I think the biggest thing is making sure you've got those KPIs and focus your attention on what your team needs to do, or what you need to do as a player, and what you need to do to be able to execute your game plan, or even just do what you do the best. I think far too much people go and compare. They're always pointing the finger at what is that person doing or what are they doing, rather than controlling your own backyard and what do you need to do. Because if you tick all of those boxes and you do what you need to do and you focus your attention on what your team is doing, there's probably more of a chance of they're not going to be able to do what you're thinking about, what the other team's thinking, because you're doing so well at what your plan is, if that makes sense.
If as a bowling group your plans have been to bowl fuller and straighter and really swing the ball around early, and that served you well, focus on that, talk about that. And that gun batsman, if you execute that, like
they're not going to be in the game.
Another one I think is to actually think about some mental techniques you can use. Like I said,
massive.
The emotion's higher. There's excitement around the game. So, and again, I probably wouldn't try and do something if you've never used it.
You've got to have done it before.
So some things like visualization's a big one.
So just positively, visualising success.
Sitting down, whether it be the night before, the morning of a game, and spend 5 minutes and actually see yourself bowling a really good spell, or see yourself cracking 100. Okay, and get yourself in that positive frame of mind. Breathing's another one. That's probably more in game. In the heat of the situation. But maybe practice that at training.
Controlling that heart rate. Bringing that down, your nerve set.
Think about your routine. Whether you're making sure you're clear on your routine when you're out there batting or bowling. What else is there? Self-talk?
Positive self-talk, I think. A lot of the time, and this is probably more so in these moments, is something goes wrong and automatically it's like, oh no, this is going wrong, I'm going to fail, I'm going to choke or whatever. Turning that around into some positive affirmations and positive mindset's going to help you just continue along that path. And I think the biggest thing with that, that this playing up a level or playing at a big stage, it's that war of attrition. Whoever's doing the best at what their skill set is for longer is going to win. So these mental techniques will help you be consistently at the level that you need to.
And I want to emphasise, don't just bring this into the game. Practice these techniques at training. Try and put yourself in pressure situations in the nets, and then practice lowering your heart rate through breathing, or practice stopping those negative thoughts in their tracks and replacing them with something more positive.
They're mental skills. It's a skill that you've got to learn. Last one that we really touch on is, I think, relaxing away from training. You know, that the week or the leading up to a carnival or to a big event or something, you know, and it's happened to me, you get overcome with thinking about the what ifs, or away from training, you know, what if I don't do this, or is this going to happen, or is that going to happen? Try to find things that can take you away from thinking about the game, whether it be, you know, going out with your mates and having fun away from cricket, who might not be your cricket mates, or going out to dinner, or just catching up, or doing things that distract you away from what you have to do to try and save that, I guess, mental energy and that. You know, you're playing, how many times, you know, you would have done it as well, you play the game over in your head so many times in the lead up, you just want to go out and do it, and it's that 5 or 6 days lead in that really takes away, you know,
you can cook yourself before the game just by being completely absorbed, and like I said, it's inevitable, you're going to think about it more, you are going to be a bit more excited about the game.
Absolutely.
But really work hard to switch off outside of training, and make your training, when you're thinking about the game, really focused and purposeful. But make sure you switch off away and give yourself some downtime leading up to that big game.
Absolutely. So I guess those are some really key points that we feel help improve and prepare yourself for big events or big games, or you know, going up a level. You know, if you've got any questions or anything, you know, we're more than happy to answer. But I think the key is, like we said, those 7 things really go a long way to
Mate, they'll make a big difference.
Awesome.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers.